So here we are, Miss Katie Riggs. Now, let me ask, do you prefer Kathleen or are you Katie?
When I was younger, I went by Kathleen because it sounded more mature.
Right.
Mature? Mature?
Mature sounds good.
But I go by Katie mostly now.
Yeah. That's
Yeah.
how I've always I mean, I never was like, "Hey Kathleen," but I know I
It's
love
a
your
little
name.
it's a little bit more fun, a little lighter, you know?
Yeah. Keeping it light. I love it.
Yes.
So, what is the official name of your vocal studio just so we can have everybody find you and your website?
Well my well, it's kathleenriggs.com and I'm on Instagram at KDK Music. I mean, I'm just Katie Riggs Vocal Studio.
Okay, great. Cool.
Yeah.
Because I want everybody to kind of understand that you have your separate vocal studio. Because why don't you tell everyone how you kind of got into this industry? I mean, obviously, if people don't know, your father is was a longtime vocal coach, developer, and tell us a little bit of history about how he impressed that upon you growing up.
Well,
Well,
okay, so we're going way back.
let's go
My
way back.
my mom met my dad in a singing lesson. My mom sang opera and musical theater, and my dad was this vocal coach, and they got together, and they both had a kid. So my mom
Right.
had a son, and my dad had a daughter, and they got together, and they had us five kids. So I come from a really big family, and it's a very musical family. All of us love music. We grew up with music all around us and different kinds of music around us. I always sang from the earliest of memories. I would sing Whitney Houston and Mariah Carey and Aretha Franklin with my dad. And then with my mom, I would sing like Phantom of the Opera and different musical theater pieces. And so I got a good experience listening to a bunch of different genres of music. So when I was a kid, I would always sing, and depending upon what I was doing, they would either be just listening by the door, or my dad would be like, "You're gonna kill your voice if you keep singing like that." And that was at like 7, 8, 9 years old,
Uh,
which is,
yeah,
you
and
know,
he thought like, were you straining? Like,
yeah,
were
it
you
was
trying?
training.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, because I equated power with chest voice. So if you equate power with chest voice, that means that you're going to start pushing all out your high notes. So that's what I was doing when I heard Mariah Carey go for a big note. I was thinking, oh my God, I got to push my way there. I didn't know that there was any other way. So, um, it's now 30 years later, and I've had this the ability to go from my chest to head voice in what is called a blend or a mix, but I had to come up the same way other singers do, which is finding that area and getting comfortable in that area in the voice. But yeah, I had a bunch of different odd jobs when I was a young teenager, 13, 14, 15, 16, and then when all of my friends were applying to colleges, my dad was like, please let me teach you how to teach. You can use your gift, and yeah, if you ever want to perform later on, you'll be able to do that, and you'll have the funds from teaching to help you do that. And if you don't want to teach, or sorry, if you don't want to sing, you don't have to sing, but you should be using your gift. And so I started sitting in with him when I was 17 and learning what he did. And I had like my little notebooks, and every day after school I'd go in there and start writing notes. And then he sent me my first student when I was 17.
that's amazing. 17 years old. So you felt like he had a lot of confidence already in what you had learned since you were a kid at that
Yeah, I
point.
mean, and you just don't. Sometimes you just got to like throw yourself into something. But yeah, I mean, at that
Yeah,
point, I had already had 10 years of doing voice lessons.
right,
So I was already doing this stuff. I might have not known why it worked,
right.
but I could do it. And then that's when I was 16, 17. I started writing the notes, and then he sent me my first student, and my first student thought that I was my mom.
Really? Because you look a lot like your mom did. You
I
resemble her.
definitely look a lot like my mom, but I
Oh,
have her name,
of
Kathleen.
course, right.
So when
Yeah.
Seth was recommending, students to me as a youngin, they said, he would tell them that he wanted to recommend Kathleen Riggs,
Right.
you know, and that was me.
And they were like, "Oh,
Yeah, they're like,
okay."
wait a minute. My mom had already passed at that point. My mom died
Right.
when I was like 15, 16.
Oh, wow, yeah. Yeah.
But so my dad wanted me to start teaching, and so he wanted me to like look professional, and so and I was like totally into like punk music too, and ska and like rock and roll, and I would sing R&B, but I was
British or
genre.
like UK or American punk or all of
Probably a
it?
little bit both. Probably both. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, definitely both.
Yeah.
But so he took me and we like went in, like he put me in like this suit with penny loafers, and it was like totally not my thing, but he was like, you can't dress how you're dressing and
Right.
teach. Like people
Right.
are not going to take you seriously, and they're already not going to take you seriously because you're 17.
Right. So he was kind of helping you present yourself professionally and even teaching you in that way. That's amazing. So,
Oh yeah. No, he's always been
wow.
like that.
And
Yeah.
you were really into it. You weren't like, I don't know. Was there anything else that you would have pursued professionally had you not gone down this path?
I've
Curious.
always been attracted to therapy, maybe wanting to be like some kind of therapist, but
Yeah.
what's actually kind of cool is that I'm able to take my life experiences and I'm able to share in a way of being of service to people. So it kind of, I'm not a therapist, but I definitely have a lot of life experiences that I'm able to share and be open about. And so,
Yeah.
yes, I help people vocally, but I feel like I definitely could be of service in other ways too.
You kind of integrate that idea into everything you do anyway. That's the type of person I see that you are too, is like
Yeah.
you were always I should say too that we worked together in the same studio for a while, kind of parallel while you were teaching. I was doing some other work years ago at the Seth Riggs Studio. But so that was really fun to get to see you every day or
You
often at
remember
least.
that? It would be a
I know.
circus. I mean, there were rooms in every there were pianos in every room, and you would hear like do 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 do. I mean,
I
shooting
do.
out of different. I mean, those were the days.
That was crazy. And like it was interesting to work in the kind of the offices above it and just be listening. Like I had to get really good at just listening to that over and over. It's like trying to do coding or something. I'm like, I don't know.
Yeah,
It's just like
yeah.
I would come home and be like, I, I know a lot of, and it still serves me though. Listen to this. Like I do that in my daily life. Right before I didn't warm up before I came on right now, but you could kind of hear it. But I hear things now from those experiences that I would never hear in people's voices. I'm like, uh-oh, no, oh,
Yeah, that ain't right. Hold on,
that's
they
not
gotta
in the
go back.
mix. That's not the mix. I've often gone up to people and like, hey, I'm concerned about your voice. I'm like a little know-it-all now. But
I mean,
that's
how could you not absorb that? I mean, it was
right.
day in and day out, all day long. You heard voices, and
Absolutely.
not just in one room. It was like you were attacked from all sides.
Totally. And you know what? It wasn't so completely like crazy foreign to me because I don't know if I told you this, but my mom was also a singer. So I
Mm.
relate to you in a big way there. She did a lot of opera too, but then I just really not, she didn't go professionally anymore. She kind of cut that off and had her family, but it was kind of like growing up with that around me all the time. Like if I
Yeah,
wanted to sing, it was like, oh, hold on, let me give an adjustment. And I'd be like, oh my God. I
yeah,
can't get away with like Mary Had a Little Lamb. So
yeah. No, no, it was
yeah,
the same exact thing for me.
yeah,
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
So your mom would come over and like and teach you or your dad, and they would give you an adjustment when
Oh,
you
yeah,
mm-hmm.
yeah, yeah. No, both of them did. I mean, they both taught me. So it was the same. vocal technique, but, you know, with my mom it'd be musical theater and opera, and then with my dad it'd be more pop based.
Right.
Oh my God.
Right.
All the time. All the time.
So, okay, let's go over now. Cut to now. And you're this independent powerhouse. Can you mention some of your like just your most like recent like clients that people might recognize their names? You have all kinds of clients, we should say though, diverse across the board, right?
You know who I'm so excited about right now is Leslie Grace. And Leslie Grace is the new Nina in
Oh,
Into the Heights.
oh, cool.
That is especially cool because I've been working with her for a long time on her music career. And then she had got an audition for a movie, her first movie, and got the leading role of Nina in Into the Heights. I mean, what? Did you see
What?
it?
That her first audition?
Yeah. I mean, I don't know if it was her first audition, but
One of her. Yeah.
yeah, and like the first gig that she got
Wow.
was Nina from Into the Heights. Yeah.
I haven't seen
What?
it yet. I have to see it. I'm
Oh
so
my God.
excited.
And I did watch it from home, but it is like I've had friends say, "Oh, you've got to watch that in the theater," and I didn't get it, but you really should see it in the theater because
Oh,
it's
really?
really beautifully done, yeah, and all the dance sequences. You want to be able to like get the full effect.
Did you see
Yeah.
it at first on the small screen and then go see it on the big
I
screen?
haven't seen it on the big screen, but I did see it just like in my living room. I also worked with Dua Lipa when she first came to LA.
Oh, Dua Lipa. Yes,
Dua
that's
Lipa,
the
yeah.
one.
And
Yeah.
got her ready for her first performances. I mean, way before that she was a global sensation. She
Mm-hmm.
was doing her first gigs at YouTube and you know different spots around town, and then she literally blew up into this mega global amazing.
Sensation.
Yeah, and but even more than that is she's just really so such a beautiful human. She has a lot of humility and honesty and goodness, you know? It doesn't seem like the fame has done anything,
To
you
tweak
know?
her. Yeah, I
Yeah,
mean, it's a hard road, right? I mean, it sounds like, oh, that's everything you'd ever want, but that's a fast-paced life. You're just
yeah, that's hard.
constantly working.
Hard. Yeah.
And you can lose your center of yourself a little bit or lose that moral grounding because it's very easy and insidious in that business, in any business that involves entertainment too, because you're giving so much of yourself. It's hard to find your time to
Yeah.
like reconnect. Like, do I like peas? I don't know. Yeah,
But I do think that she has like an amazing team around her,
good.
and that makes it easier.
Yeah,
Yeah.
how do you tell me how you like okay, so you have a diverse everyone, from people who just want to improve their speaking voice, right? To their singing voice. And do you teach children too? You teach it the whole gamut?
I don't. Yes, I do teach kids. I don't teach a ton of kids, but
Right.
yes, I definitely have like my crew of kids. Yeah.
Cool. What is your process in like when you coach them, like relating to them? Are you in kind of informing them about the whole shebang, like smoking, this is what happens, health, what do you eat? The whole deal?
Not kids.
Not kids,
No,
but
not
like
kids.
adults.
Oh
You know,
yeah.
the
Oh
whole
yeah.
are you a kind of like do you just do, hey, we're just gonna do these exercises and then you're out the door, or are you kind of the
No.
full package?
Yeah.
Sounds like you're really into the support aspect as well
Yeah.
as the
No, I'm talking
training.
about vocal health, but vocal
Yes.
athleticism. You know, people just
Yes.
see like these, you know, people on stage and they see all the spectacle and the dancing and the shine and don't know that behind the scenes is going to make or break your stamina and your energy, your voice, everything for when you go live. So yeah, I definitely try to impress upon people all of the do's and don'ts and the rules before you break them. That's actually what I've been calling my workshops lately is know the rules before you break them, you know? If you know
Yeah.
that if you're a big time smoker and you've got, you know, some kind of performance that's coming up, I mean, and it's hard. Addiction is hard, but if you
Hmm.
can stand it, You're not going to want to smoke a few days before, and definitely like not on the day of a performance. You know, it's like you've got to know what the smoking is going to do. You got to know what the drugs are going to do. You got to know what the alcohol is going to do. You got to know what leaving a window open at night is going to do, and leaving the fan on, and not having a humidifier, and you know, dressing appropriately when you go outside, and the things you eat, and what those things do, and the caffeine, and the dairy, and the acne medication, and that time of the month for people. And
Oh my gosh. That
it's
is
a
a lot. I didn't even think of some of those, and I've thought about a lot of those. Even acne medication.
it'll dry people out. And so then you've got to, depending upon which one, and
Mm.
there's always like a different context for people, but generally speaking, allergy meds will dry out the vocal cords. And so you've got to make sure that you're hydrating.
Yeah, like if
Funny
you're in a
word.
play and they're using smoke, I mean that can affect your voice. Like all these little tidbits, that are
Yeah.
really important
Yeah.
because you can do things like really damage your voice without even realizing. When you
Okay.
get coached, maybe even push past your break.
Yeah.
Ooh,
Yeah.
I've heard that one. I'm like, push past it.
Yeah.
That's everything you shouldn't do, right, Katie? Like,
Yes.
never.
No, you
All
never
right.
want to force your voice ever.
Okay.
Which is kind of counterintuitive, right? Because I didn't. So I grew up in a different background, right? And I got very lucky and blessed to not have, had to like, run my voice over coals to get, to good technique.
Where do we want to be with the voice? We want to take our chest voice, right? And our head voice, and then we want to get a mix of the two. Is that the ultimate? How could you explain
Yeah.
that? And like, is that kind of
So you want to
layman's
develop
terms?
your entire range so that when you are down low, that it feels um, strong and present and comfortable and flexible. And then you want to be able to extend your range up to the highest of notes without the quality changing. So normally when the quality changes, it's due to the vocal cords either starting to come apart, and when you go, ah, and your voice
Mm-hmm.
cracks, well, that wouldn't be continuing the right quality, right? Which would be fine if you want to use a falsetto. I mean, it's, it has a context, but if you're looking to have a full, powerful sound, you're not going to get it from little old falsetto. Name me like a person, little old falsetto.
Yeah.
Right. But if you, and then the other option of going from, the foundation of your instrument, your chest voice up high, is to start to push. You don't want to go, because you're going to hit a ceiling at some point. It's going to feel like you can't go above it because you're engaging the extrinsic muscles in your throat, and everything starts to tighten up. You can't get above it because it's strained. So what I teach is how to go from your chest to head voice with a blend of your head voice and just like this.
Yes, where it's kind of
So then
rising
it goes
when
like,
needed.
so it's just, so the top of my voice sounds like an extension of the bottom of my voice. And if
Right.
I want it to sound really heady, I'll just not lean in. But it's still connected down to the bottom of my voice. And
Right.
if I want it stronger, I lean in. Nay, 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 but it's still connected down to the bottom of my voice. You know what I mean?
Yes.
So then when you're in a song, and it doesn't matter what genre of music, when you're low, you're going to be in your chest voice. And when you're high, you're going to be in your mixed voice. That's
awesome.
it. I'm just trying to make notes available. And when you do have those notes available, you then are not only able to sing the songs that either you've prescribed yourself or somebody else has given you, but you're able to go on stage with a way more freedom, because you know that if you want to go for a note, that you know how to get there because you've been training for it,
Yes.
Scales do. The scales take you way higher than anything you're going to sing to take out any extra insurance on your artistry of being like, hey, I want to hit a different note right now and be able to go for it and not have to second guess yourself. Am I going to make it? Do you know what I mean?
Yes, and oh, thank you for just sharing all of that because it's good to get a refresher. And, I feel like that saved me that knowledge. And my mom had it a little bit, but didn't know how to kind of put that into terms for me. But I feel like I used to try to push. I'm not a singer per se, but I sing. And so I used to try to strain before I understood fully what you just said. And that has helped me even when I know I'm doing bad habits, it really, the knowledge and education, at least you have it, uh-oh, I
Yeah,
shouldn't, or if I drink this cup of coffee, then I have to drink whatever amount of water, or like if I'm
totally.
about to sing
No,
or speak or whatever.
it's knowing the rules before you break them. Like even when I'm in the car, like so I've been, training my own voice for like 30 years, but I'll still be in the car and I'll be singing along to songs and I'll find myself, pushing here and there. And so what I do in order to encourage good behavior, and not encouraging bad behavior is I'll literally turn it off, turn the song off, correct what I'm doing and then turn it back on and keep singing.
That's a great tip.
Again, you're either encouraging the right condition or you're discouraging balance.
Oh,
And
that's
so,
so good.
yeah, yeah.
Oh, that's so good. Okay, that's so good. That just is like gold. You mentioned singing in the car. So, how do you give so much of yourself and to your students, and how do you find time then to kind of fulfill your own musical desire, time spent with self, development, and yeah, like how do you do that?
I think my primary purpose right now is just to share um, my experience, strength, and hope in the way of artist development,
Mm-hmm.
um, but also just with my teaching. So you're not going to really find me watching any music shows at the end of the day because I've been listening to singers all day long. I love to go to shows. I love going to concerts. I'm actually going to the Hollywood Bowl tonight to see Kool and the Gang.
What?
Yeah,
Yes.
I love taking like day trips, going to Palm Springs. You know, actually, I like being quiet because I'm really extroverted when I teach.
Mm-hmm.
So that when I'm not teaching or I'm not in front of the camera, I'm just really wanting to be kind of more quiet. And so I'll like listen to podcasts and like listen to books on audio and to like take my dog for walks and I'll cook. And so I live kind of a really quiet life when I'm not either traveling or doing vocal lessons. And
Right.
I kind of really need it to be that way because it's teaching takes a lot of energy. It's like with every student, you have to get into the psychology of that person, figure out what works, figure out what doesn't work, and it's like this constant one-on-one, and I do love it because I'm able to turn on the lights that weren't there before, and it is very fulfilling to be able to use my gift in that capacity. So I guess what I'm saying is I kind of have neglected using my own voice for stuff unless people call on me and they're like, hey, can you come in and demo this, or hey,
Mm.
can you come in, like, would you like to kind of join this group that we're doing, or do you want to come sing? Like, I'll do those things, but I'm not, when I'm done teaching, I don't like go towards the songwriting. And
That's so great that you get so much, but it's not like it's a drag, like you're a you're doing something that you actually
I
value and
love
care about and
that. I
love it.
love, yeah.
So more than anything, I love music artists.
Hmm.
I don't know what it is. I feel very protective of them. I
Hmm.
want to like put my feathered wings around them. You know
Yeah,
what I mean? That's
yeah.
how I feel.
I mean, I think that's also why my dad wanted me to teach versus perform. He was like, Katie, it's like, it's a dirty business,
It is.
and you don't know who you're going to be talking to, and you don't know the things that they're going to be asking for. So why don't I teach you this trade that you can use for the rest of your life, putting voices together, which you know how to do, and your voices together. Why don't you share that? And then if you want to do the singing thing, you can do that too. But you're going to be prepared because, it's a hard thing. Not having any kind of backup plan. The people that come here that, are waitresses and doing a whole bunch of different kinds of things in order to get their singing. It's man, you got to stay motivated. And I don't know if I have
Yeah.
that gusto, but I am truly grateful for everything that I've learned from my dad and that I'm able to keep paying forward. I mean,
Yes, me
yes.
too. I am too. And I'm like, huh, maybe I should take some vocal lessons with Katie because like
Calm down.
I was saying to a bunch of different people like my voice gets strained, Some I did like 4 interviews in 1 week and I was like, "Whoa, I got to get better at taking care of my vocal cords." Like it took me back. I shouldn't take it for granted that
Oh my
like
God.
Dr. Nasseri once put the scope down my throat and he was like, "You have perfect vocal cords." And I was like, "Great."
Let's
Whatever I want.
party. Yeah.
Like, but not really, right?
Do you have a vocal warm up for before you do interviews?
Well, just my old acting stuff or stuff maybe I heard in the studio, but no, I don't.
Yeah, you should have
One
like a
go
5 or 10 minute, you know, some kind of scale accompaniment that you can just press play and listen and warm up with. I mean, simple things like
Yeah. Ex
you know.
Yes. And I always was trying to get that. I
Can you go like this? That's fine. That's
Yeah.
good.
Okay.
And so this one's hard.
I don't know why. It's psychological.
Can't do it when you're smiling.
Wait, hold on. Let's try to like that.
There you go.
Okay, yay.
And then you can do the sexiest one of them all, which is. Can you go like that?
That's awesome. Thank you. I will do that. And I've been being very kind of bad about that. So just even those little things, just for five
Oh
to
my
10.
God. If you want to, you just, I mean, we could do it right now, but just do like a 5 to 7 minute vocal
Mm-hmm.
warm up because
Okay.
when you are going throughout your day and you're constantly on your chest, you're in your chest voice, and depending upon your energy level, if you start to kind of drag down here and then you've got an interview, your voice is going to get really, really tired. So you want something to kind of like take the weight off the bottom.
Mm.
That's why even like a simple, like, I don't really use a whole bunch of sirens, but they can be useful of going like, just kind of running that up and down.
Do you know that I did that? You called it a siren?
Mm-hmm.
My mom called it sirening too. She said when you were little, before you could even speak, I was doing that. I
Mm-hmm.
was doing it naturally. I think babies probably do it to develop their vocal cords. They do it instinctively. But I was really sirening. She said it was intense. Like
I love that your mom corrected you when you were singing. I think that's so sweet.
she did. She always oh, and she loved to try to teach me people. That was her go-to. And she's going like this, people. She's like, it's the same note. It's the same note. I was like, don't do people again, Mom. Please don't do people.
About people, I think one of the reasons that my dad was so successful is knowing how to be a chameleon with people. If
Yes.
people got this idea like, oh my God, he's untouchable, or he's like, because he, was a celebrity vocal coach. But when you meet him, he is just so down to earth and friendly
Because
and generous.
his voice is, I mean, I can't even, I try to do it for people and they're always like, you kind of have it. It's like I listen to it.
Yeah,
I love it. He just
yeah,
has a beautiful speaking voice as well. So it's
yeah.
commanding. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that all of us definitely inherited that from my dad, is being able to be around people, different kinds of people from different, backgrounds and cultures, because he would always greet people the same, you
I
know?
like that. I think it's about meeting people where they are,
Yeah.
and recognizing that and being so that's kind of really giving of yourself and gracious because I've heard other people, really successful music makers of all kinds, and that's a constant comment is not trying to lose themselves or not be or be inauthentic in any way, being themselves, but really seeing who's across from you.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's a gift.
Yeah, it is a gift.
Not
Yeah.
everybody possesses that,
No.
as especially as a creative,
No.
right?
No.
Because
Yeah,
we
but it's just like people flock to it because there's a humility to the person, so it doesn't come off with a lot of ego, right?
right, and I think yep, and I think I'm drawn to people obviously like that because and especially like if you want to say celebrities or VIPs when you meet someone that's so genuine like that and so busy and already they could be just like I don't even
Yeah,
I
they
can't
could
do
be really
that
shy.
or yeah,
Mhm.
but those people are the most successful people in their business
Mhm.
because they're able to be congenial and to give out of themselves and set their own boundaries. It's a fine balance. It's really hard.
But I think like the more you are face to face with different kinds of people, the better you're going to get at it.
But I think those things, it is about practicing. Like I've never really even been a musician, but I bought a piano recently and I'm sitting and I'm just noticing like I'm coming up with things on my own, like just by doing it every day. You
Yeah.
know? So it's a
Yeah.
silly, I don't have music theory, but that's okay. Like that could be learned, just the
God, some of the best players don't even read music. You're fine. Just keep going.
That's what Ellis Hall said. He's like, you don't need anything. Like, he's just like,
Yeah. I
so
mean, that's
fun.
what my dad would tell me when I first started teaching, And I'm like, but dad, what if somebody asks me something that I don't know and I don't know a lot of musical, theory? And he'd be like, you don't have to know any of that. He's like, well, what if they ask me for degrees? I don't have any degrees. He's like, it doesn't matter. Tell them to give you a five-tone on and see what they do with it, you know? And I'm like, okay, and I did, and so to go back, that guy that came in, he was in his 50s, who thought he was seeing my mom, ended up coming to see me, and at first he was looking at me like I was some little like kind of chump, like he had gotten what was that show? Like
Punked.
cat or like catfished or
Yeah,
something.
yeah,
You know
yeah.
what I
Oh,
mean?
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, and I did the five-tone on. I figured out what he wanted to do, what his voice tended to want to do on the way up, and then I was able to like blend it in a way where it was still full, but he didn't have to push to get there. And he was like, "I'd like to come back twice a week," and I'm like, "Yes,"
Yeah.
and
Because,
just
see,
started from there. It was like it got, and my dad sent me so many people back in the day, and we, obviously worked out of the same studio, and he would pull me in to like, give exercises to his people, and I would pull him into mine to, check out what I was, doing, or when I would get somebody like especially talented, I'd be like, Dad, come listen. It was a really special time.
I'm glad you had that time because that's so important. It sounds like it was really important too to have that support right outside the door. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah,
So, and now
yeah,
are you so you have a sister Rachel and she also teaches,
yeah,
right?
yes.
Cool.
Yeah, so
That's all
she
in the
she
fam.
started about, I think it was like 5 or 6 years after me. So she's been teaching for 15 or 16 years now, and she had a lot of hesitancy around teaching because she wanted to be an artist for a long time, and she was signing me. She's got her whole story, and it'd be really cool to hear her story. But she had, yeah, a lot of hesitance about learning how to teach, and I was like, I had already been teaching. I was like, Rachel, you don't even know what you're missing. You know, when you're
Wow.
able to make things happen in people's voices that were not there before, like it's so meaningful. It's so meaningful, and yeah, and so yeah, so she's been teaching, and she's got quite the clientele too. Like holy moly, holy moly! But you don't really see her online because she doesn't really like being online. And I'm
She's
like,
under
Rachel,
under
you
the
need,
radar.
yeah, and she prefers it that way.
Your family's so artistic. Do you draw
Yeah.
at all? Just
No, I
curious.
don't think I draw. I think I'm just really
Okay.
musical.
Curious because like Seth and then Rachel, like
Yeah.
the
So
art.
my younger my
Yeah.
my younger brother Seth is he
Yeah.
actually um he's a great singer. He's a really great singer, and he has a gift, but
Oh,
right now he's choosing to do the firefighter thing. He was in the army, but he got out, and he's a firefighter.
I
Uh,
didn't know he sang. Have I heard him
oh my
sing? I
god.
probably
I don't
have.
think you've heard him because he's always kind of played it kind of cool, like, but he can sing. Like, I can sing. My sister Rachel can sing. Seth can sing really well. Who else can sing? I think they were probably the best. But I
Is
think
this because your mom did the Partridge Family thing? And like you said that
yeah,
she was like you guys were
yeah,
like the little lined up
lining us up.
like yep, singing. That's
So sweet.
adorable, by the
That,
way.
there are a few of us that are definitely more gifted than others
Right.
in the family, but yeah, I've got another brother who's an amazing artist,
Oh
and he like
wow.
draws from real life and paints and charcoals. He's incredible. And then I have another brother, my eldest brother, who's a teacher, and then I have got my oldest sister, and she's in entertainment, and yeah,
Wow.
yeah.
The Riggs kids
Riggs,
take over
yeah.
Hollywood and the world.
I love my brothers and sisters.
I
Yeah.
love that you guys are close. I think that's
Yeah.
amazing. I think that's
Yeah.
so important, first of
It
all,
didn't have
because,
to be that way, you know?
right? Yeah, it could have gone so many different ways. I mean, me and my brother and sister too, but it's everything, you know? It's so
Yeah.
valuable to have
It's
that.
so fun. Like all of our holidays and our birthdays, it's just like a whole bunch of us like come together, and I'm so grateful for that.
Uh,
I can't imagine being an only child. I would probably be so sad.
Do you have a lot of artists maybe that are on tour? And how do you support touring artists? Like virtually, or have you ever gone out on somebody's tour?
I have
What's your
actually
preference?
not been out on a tour yet. I've only dropped in for tour dates.
Right.
And I think not I think, but I know up until this point, probably 20 years into my teaching, and is I was really hesitant um, to go and to be somewhere else.
Hmm.
And I've gotten literally calls from Korea and the UK and Australia and Canada and Russia, and it was like, come on, Katie, like come on. And for so long, I just really played small, and I let kind of fear creep in. And so the biggest thing for me over the past year is to say yes. And so that's why you've seen a lot more of me on social media and a lot of
Oh,
publications and stuff, because instead of hiding and saying no, I'm literally, I'm just saying yes. And so I've gotten like some TV things, and so all that to say, the next time I get asked to go out on tour and it makes sense, I will go. Yeah.
you heard it here. You
You heard
heard
it
it
here
here on
first.
Musician. Yeah.
I'm coming. Yeah.
That's awesome. I'm glad I
Yeah.
asked that question then.
Yeah.
Okay. Very
It's time to
interesting.
blossom, you know? It's like
Yeah.
we've got one life.
Hmm.
Let's not waste it being small and not doing things that are new because you fear something that's probably made up, that's probably not even going to happen, you know?
Oh, it's so true. Thank you for just sharing that that we might all know, but that we have to say it to ourselves every day. Adulting is hard some days. And like, yeah. I mean, I'm trying to do that as well. I mean, I'm saying yes to a bunch of things that are terrifying or
Yeah.
stretching in ways that it's like, oh, do I want to spend that? But I know that I have to expand.
I think
Mm,
that also happens, like I don't know if it happens for like like 20 sums, but like in my later 30s now, I'm like
mhm.
there's nothing really you
Yeah.
gain from playing small but a false sense of security,
Ooh.
you know?
That is true. It's that false evidence appearing real. And then yet, what if the worst thing happens? My mom always used to say that. What's the worst thing that could happen? Oh, this could happen or that could happen or could you do you think you could handle that? Like what would, did you find a solution if that happens? Probably if I had, yeah, I guess I could. Okay,
Your
go
mom
do it
talked to you
then.
like that?
Yes,
That you got lucky.
I did.
That's great.
Yeah,
My dad was like, if you go out on tour, you're gonna lose all of the people that you're teaching. And I'm like, no, I can't lose all the people that I'm teaching. Because it was true for him. He would go out on tour and then he would come back and he would have to build himself up again. But
yeah.
I feel like today is different, and you can put those boundaries in place, with the people that you're touring with, that when am I working and when am I not working? Because if I'm not working with you, I'm going to be handling my clients over Zoom,
Right,
you know?
exactly.
Yeah. So,
Exactly.
so, so now there's like a lot more availability in the communications field.
Yeah, setting your boundaries and then being like, hey, I'm just gonna work this out.
Yeah. This is what I
If it's
can,
worth it, it's
yeah,
worth
this is
it.
what I can do. And this is what I can't do. Yeah.
Exactly, dude. I totally get it, and I have to set those boundaries even now, and it's I want to always do forever. Like my heart is to give and do, but then I have to go. Wait, what about me and doing for? Well, I have to recoup, and so I can give out again, and that whole like
Yeah.
introvert extrovert personality kind of that you really relate to, I think, because you mentioned
Yeah.
it.
I mean, burnout is real. Yeah.
Totally. Yes, it
And
is. Okay, I've asked most of my questions, and this is one of my most favorite ones. It's just a kind of a basic one, but what are you listening to? Like, what would we find on our old playlist? We love to discover people, and you mentioned some artists that you're already like excited about that you're coaching.
well, I have a lovely artist by the name of Amber Mark that I work with. She's
Awesome.
amazing. I found this woman on Instagram who's incredible, and she goes by Mackenzie Thomas. The album's
Cool.
called Love Mackenzie. She's so good. Um, Bishop Briggs. Who else do I got on here? I've got Nas. I've got Teddy Swims. Have you heard of Teddy Swim?
No. Teddy swims? Like
Teddy
swim?
Swim.
Oh,
Have you heard of
cool.
Alan Stone?
Yes.
He's kind of like Alan Stone.
Oh,
He's new on the
cool.
scene.
Awesome. Teddy
Bunch of
swims.
rap. Got a bunch of rap.
Nice.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm pretty excited. I'm going to go teach there's this festival called the Pilgrimage Festival, and one of my artists, Haley Witters, who's a country folk genre gal, and I'm so excited. I'm gonna fly to Franklin, Tennessee, and I'm gonna do like the country music thing for a few days. And it's like we haven't been able to go to any festivals or concerts. I am like, oh, I also teach Vampire Weekend, and Vampire Weekend is gonna have one of their shows back. Halloween weekend, so I'm definitely going to be going there. I love Vampire Weekend.
I do
Yeah,
too.
yeah, I hadn't actually, and I'm embarrassed to say this, but I hadn't heard Vampire Weekend's music. And he started coming in to take lessons, and he invited me to his show, and I went to the show, and I was like, this is
Mm-hmm.
one of the best shows I've ever seen.
Mm-hmm.
They're so fun. The music is so good, and I had no idea. Definitely I fangirl over Vampire Weekend.
Do you like to be referred to as a vocal coach, a vocal teacher, a vocal developer, or instructor? What
I
are?
don't mind by going by any of those. I think
Okay.
also like you have to know your audience.
Right.
So I'm absolutely a vocal coach because I'll help people sing through their songs, but I'm also a vocal technician because I'm working on getting the voice connected. I'm also a style enhancer because I teach people style.
You're not like one to be offended if someone's like, I'm not, like, I'm not just a coach. Like, you're cool with
No,
any title.
yeah, yeah. I don't know. I'm not really easily offended.
I
You
know,
know,
it's
I
cool.
think I think part of that is because I know who I am in the world. So when like things happen, I don't really take it to heart. You know what I mean?
Right.
If someone calls me like a vocal coach, it's like great. If they call me a vocal technician, great. If they just want to say like I'm a voice teacher, cool. You know what I mean? I don't care.
I often think of it as vocal development in my
Yeah, I mean
mind
it is. It is. Yeah.
because it's everything. Like I just know I know vocal teachers that are just straight up, you do your lesson, that's all they have to give you and that's what and that's a different kind of vocal training.
Yeah.
It depends on what you're going for. Like if you just want to sing well, sing in the shower, whatever, that's different. But find the best vocal instructor and developer you can. Always push
Also,
with your voice.
if you are not growing, then be open to finding someone else to work with. And you get to take the things that do work for you, that do make sense, and you get to carry it with you on your vocal journey, you know?
Take what you like and leave the rest.
Literally, exactly.
I love that kind of motto. So what are you? I saw you were, are you doing, do you have a partner and you're doing a web series on tips? I saw that you were doing a video series. Is that right? Or were you
Um,
just,
so one of my dad's, I mean, when we had an organization, we had, a lot of people all over the world. And one of my dad's first teachers in Mexico was this man named Miguel. And Miguel was in Mexico, but he moved to Spain. And we've become friends. And he's like, I want you to come to Spain. I want you to come to Spain. We should travel around Mexico and give workshops. And because I am where I am now, I'm like, yes, let's do it. So it's, there's still pandemic
awesome.
things and coming out of that. So we did our first workshop together as a team, and we really complement each other really well. And we'll probably do a few more this year. And then top of next year, I'm going to work my way over there. And then we're going to, do workshops. Yeah, I've been doing a ton of workshops.
that's
Yeah.
awesome. So you're going to go to probably all around Mexico and Spain.
Yeah.
That's
Mm-hmm.
fantastic.
Yeah.
Have
Yeah.
you ever been to Spain?
No, I haven't been to a lot of places. So actually, right before pandemic, I had these big plans to like go to Greece for the first time and like go to Germany and kind of pop around. And then pandemic happened. I'm like, oh, it was this close. So I did a workshop with Miguel, and then I had a teacher from Uruguay hit me up, and she wants to do a workshop with me. So I'll do that, and I'll do a few more with Miguel, and then I'll pop off. But I just feel like when you I don't know. I kind of bring it back to my faith in the way that it's like, when you're ready, the teacher will appear, but also like faith without works is dead. So if you want to have experience doing different things, and you've got to say yes, you've got to
Yes.
say yes. And so that's what I've been doing. I've just been saying yes. And I have a wonderful opportunity coming in a couple of weeks to lecture to a bunch of people. More will be revealed on that on my Instagram, but
Hey.
I'm just saying yes. I'm just saying yes. I mean, I thought that I would be so kind of spooked out to speak in front of people, because for a long time I was just super shy. But I don't feel that. And so the nerves are registering in my body as excitement. So you can tell, like, whenever I'm doing like any kind of podcast or workshop, I'm always like super giddy, because I'm just like, I'm super excited about life and being able to share,
Me too. We're right on the same kind of wavelength. So I'm excited for you. I'm really excited to hear this news that you're going to go tour around. I mean, that's really fun.
It's so fun.
That's it's there's nothing better than working and traveling, right? I
Yeah.
like it anyway.
Yeah. I mean, there's got to be work and play,
Mm.
you know? And I haven't been to Spain, so it was like, Miguel, you've got to take me to, like, we've got to go dancing, we've got to go to restaurants, and also do our workshops and hang out with those people too.
Yeah, and I always like to say you got to definitely not live to work but work to live.
Yeah. And that
So,
that is my motto. Because I mean, and I saw
yeah.
my dad, like, you know, growing up, he would be traveling all over the place, but there wasn't a lot of free time for him, and I saw that, and that is definitely not my jam. Like, as much as I admire my dad and all the things that he's done, I absolutely want to live my life and be able to have experiences, and yeah.
Yeah, and take time for yourself and give to
Exactly. I'm
all
not
your
a, I'm not a
amazing
workhorse. I mean, I
clients
can
and
be, but I definitely include self-care.
yes, definitely. What did I see? I saw such a great quote and I actually thought of you. Somebody sent me a self-care quote and I was like, "Oh, Katie would like Kate, I should share that with her." Oh my gosh, I love that when people send things to me and then I'm like, it was something about I don't know. It was about self-care, but then it was also so we can care for others. it was like, yes, self-care, but it's not just about self-care. It was like self-care, self-preservation,
Yeah.
self-love, so we can go back and
Yeah. It's,
bring the people in that don't know how to do that too, like
yeah.
scoop
Well, it's
them
also
up.
like, and you've probably heard like you can't transmit something that you haven't got, right?
Right.
So there's
Right.
the idea of you've got to fill up before being able to give to others, you know?
Yeah. And it's a constant learning thing, but that's I think we're both have a heart for that, and hopefully everybody enjoyed hearing about different tips. Not only that, but just a little bit about you and a little bit more of the kind of getting to know you, because
Thank you.
um I'm excited that we finally got to do this. It was a long time coming.
Yes.
Yeah, and then
I,
maybe we'll see each other in person soon one day.
yes. I still want to give you a 5 to 7 minute vocal warm up that you can use before these things.
Oh yeah? Okay. All right.
We
I'll
got to
take
book it. And we can
Okay.
actually do it over FaceTime. So,
Okay, cool. Let's book it. I want to do it. And I'll contact you and we'll do
yeah.
it. That would be
I mean, you
amazing.
can even come in.
Oh, I loved it. Thank you so much for coming on. And
Thank you for
I
having me. Thank you for asking me.
yes. And it's been a long time coming to just catch up and have a chat. So,
Yeah.
yeah. But so everybody go on to Katie's website and book a session.
KathyRiggs.com and
She's
Katie K
busy.
Music. Booked and busy, baby. We out
Booked
here.
booked and busy. I
Yeah.
love it.